let me think a minute. Looks like to me you're making a you're making the framing elements that would lead to novel ecosystems. And that's what you ought to do. You're doing what you ought to do. Because you see, we've lost the floodplain. The floodplain, when you have put 90% of the rivers in canals, and the rest don't matter, and when you've covered at least 70% of the floodplain itself, exclusive of Griffith Park and the other big one, with housing and concrete and roads, you have only one advantage. The one advantage is that if you give the Lifeweb advantage itself, it will self-complicate. But you're not the one who will tell it how to self-complicate. It's the one, it will tell you. And that's when you start to be, you shift from being the author of something, the generator of something, to the servant of what you've generated. So at some point, you're going to have to become the servant of your big circles, if you're not already that. And that, I think, needs some thinking and discussion, and it needs some imagery. So I think you're setting up the conditions. I think you're asking the question, if I do this, if I do what I'm doing, a novel ecosystem will emerge, and I have to witness it. And in witnessing it, since it's too small to take care of itself, it's not 10,000 acres. It's like a couple hundred square feet. Like it's about twice the size of a two-car garage. So you have to supply what it doesn't have. And that's when you become its servant. So what are you going to do? So stuff grows, and all of a sudden you see some kind of ivy has come in and is fucking everything up. So you pull it out because you're protecting the novel ecosystem. And then you got to find out, you've got in there an awful lot of the original bacteria, probably some of the original seeds, and then you have history books which tells you what grew on the floodplain. So you probably threw a couple plants like that in, and then you see what happens. The other thing is that if you're doing that, you have to leave it open to birds. To leave it open to birds and small game, like chipmunks make oak fields, oak forests, because they forget where they buried the chestnuts. Whatchamacallit. So anyway, I think that you have to become then the servant of the circle of the novel ecosystem you made, and find out that. But you see, if you only have one of them, it will not give you enough information. That's why I think you need to disperse them through the watershed. I remember I keep saying, why don't I get Matthew to make a map of the whole damn watershed?